My first guest has been covering one of the biggest stories that is dominating the headlines right now, and that, of course, is the crisis in Ukraine. Martha Raddatz is the chief global affairs correspondent for ABC News. She is a formidable reporter and someone, honestly, that I have admired for so many years. And this is my first time really having the opportunity to interview her. Martha joins the TAM fam for this special hour of sharing journeys of reporters, and she is right now in Lviv, Ukraine. Let's welcome Martha to the show. Martha, thank you so much for joining us. We see, obviously, there's darkness behind you and really darkness over the world as we watch this story unfold. The president of Ukraine addressing Congress, us seeing the videos and imagery that are undeniable at this point. You have covered Bosnia. You've covered the wars in Iraq and Afghanistan. From your perspective as a journalist, how is this crisis different, and even the way to cover it different from those?
I think, Tamron, it is just so massive, and it is a conventional war. And I think people thought the world was getting away from these conventional World War II type wars. But for me, just watching the refugees, watching the destruction day after day is really, truly staggering. Also, the wars I have covered in Iraq and Afghanistan, I often embedded with U.S. forces. There are no U.S. forces here. There are no active duty military here. So you are really on your own, and you're looking at it purely from the sense of a journalist. You're looking at the people, you're looking at the destruction, you're looking at these lives that are blown up and destroyed. It is, you know, people talk about, oh, how do you remove yourself from that? You do as a journalist, you do, but you don't as a human being in any way.
Martha, that's what makes this so remarkable. As I said, I've watched you for years. I've done this. I don't know how you can separate it. And I'm being transparent. I've seen the videos and the images that your camera crew have captured, and you know, the mother who was looking forward to giving life but lost her life and that of her baby in that attack. On the maternity ward, you are a mother of adult children, you are a grandmother, you are a wife. How do you separate it, Martha? Because I don't know the secret to that, especially watching this.
I think you do during the day, and then later on you think about it. You can't stop thinking about it, and you can't stop thinking about your own family or your own grandchildren. And I'm sure you know this, Tamron. You look at someone and it's like, oh my gosh, they're the same age as, and that hits you. But I think what keeps any journalist going is that you hope you're bringing this story to the world, and you know that is your job. You know that's the way you can separate yourself, that it is the power of journalism, it is the power of telling these stories that has gotten the world so interested. They see these amazing images. It's not just words, it's our amazing photographers who are out there on the front lines showing these incredible images. So the people will care. So the people will relate to it in their own way and realize what's going on. That's my job. It's your job to bring these stories to the world. And in that way, you really can put on those journalist glasses and separate your own life. But you certainly think about it and relate to it.
Martha, you made a point that it didn't occur to me until you noted that there are no U.S. forces there, unlike the other crises that you've covered. And we are hearing about journalists who've been injured, even killed while reporting on this. If you can, would you be willing to tell us a little bit about how you talk to your own family about your safety? I know the rule is not to make the story about you, but this is the reporter's notebook where we're peeling back some of this. Can I ask, how do you tell your family?
I think certainly in Iraq, where it was incredibly dangerous all the time and there was really no front line, I think my family and my children, who were obviously much younger then, understood how important I thought it was to tell that story, to tell the story of military families. You're from a military family, you know this, and I think I introduced my kids to a lot of members of the U.S. military. We would go to Walter Reed and see the wounded and talk to them, and I think that ingrained with my own children how important this was and what their sacrifice and service was, the military. And I always made a point of saying, we're the lucky ones. We're the lucky ones. I can come home in 2 or 3 weeks. They have to stay a year. They have to stay 15 months. So that was always the lesson. And I think my children so appreciate that. They understand also that this is my passion. This is what, like you, I feel like I was born to do. And they have both found what they are born to do and love what they're doing and find their own passions. And I think that's a lesson, particularly for a mother and a grandmother. And I'm very proud that you got a grandmother over here covering this. That is the lesson we pass on to our children. Find what it is you love. Find what it is you think is important. And that, I hope, is the lesson I taught them.
Martha, I know that you are an award-winning journalist. The accolades can go on, but you are an exceptional human. And I believe for a person to be a great reporter, as you are, that component of being a compassionate human is necessary. And I applaud the work that you do. I celebrate you for what you've done for this industry and what you are doing right now for the people of Ukraine and the world as you report what is happening. Thank you, Martha. Please, as we say, be safe, and we will continue to watch Martha's reporting on the platforms of ABC News. Thank you so much, Martha Raddatz. Thank you to her and her team for joining us from Ukraine.